Okay, so that's the main argument we're making, right? The cost of the Great Wall of China, the downsides, outweigh the benefits, the upsides, because. And then we're going to give our reasons. So that is the main portion of the chicken foot. That's where we're making our argument, but we haven't told people why yet. So what do you guys think goes in those three chicken foot, the three prongs of chicken foot? Sammy? Our reasons why, exactly. So our first bucket is existing protection. How do you guys want to phrase that? That talks about we don't have to worry about the threat from the John Yu, and we already have some sort of trade deal with them. What phrasing would you guys like to use? Anyone have any suggestions or ideas? You say the cost of the Great Wall of China outweighs the benefits because. What would you guys put? Any ideas? Sammy? Perfect. Because they already had existing protection. Already had existing protection. I'm going to add from the John Yu just because that's the people we're really worried about in ancient China. From the John Yu, so that would be reason number one. What is reason number two according to our buckets? What's the downside we looked at? Ava? So you're right, yeah, the human cost. So how do we phrase that? The cost of the Great Wall of China outweigh the benefits because is?
The human cost is too great.
The human cost is too great? Absolutely. Great. So we could say the cost of the Great Wall of China outweigh the benefits because they already had existing protection from the John Yu, and the human cost and the human cost was too great. So that would be, we would end our thesis there, and then we would add our counter argument. So we could say something like, however, the wall did, what did the wall do? Sarah?
It helped traders
Yes. So, however, the wall did protect trade routes and defend against possible invasion. So that is our three-part thesis. Whenever we do a DBQ in this class or in any history class, you always want to have three reasons. And usually the documents will give you three reasons. Sometimes it's three reasons yes, sometimes it's three reasons no, sometimes it's two yes, one no, like we're doing here. So overall, our thesis would look something like the cost of the Great Wall of China outweigh the benefits because they already had existing protection from the John Yu, and the human cost was too great. However, the wall did protect trade routes and defend against possible invasion. Now, we've got to back this stuff up, right? Yeah? Where are we going to provide our evidence? Where in our essay typically? What do you guys think? Sammy? Yep, we're going to provide them for the documents. And do we do that in the very beginning of our essay? No, and where do we do it typically?
in the body.
In the body paragraph. Perfect. So the reason why this is called your thesis and your roadmap is because basically you are giving the reader of the document, or the reader of your essay, a preview into what your essay is going to look like. So your first paragraph is going to be your first prong. Your second paragraph is your second prong. Your third paragraph is your third prong. I want to check in before we go any further. How are we feeling about understanding why we did the thesis this way, why we did the buckets this way? Give me 1 to 5. How are we doing? Kara, how are we feeling? 1 to 5. Okay, so I'm seeing mostly 4s and 5s, a couple 3s. That's okay. That's where we want to be. 4s and 5s mostly. Some 3s are okay. All right. So what we're going to do next. How much time do we have left today? We have about 20 minutes. Okay. So realistically, I don't think we're going to write the entire essay. So I don't want you to worry about writing the entire essay. It's Today we're going to start, my goal for today is you're going to do the intro and start your first paragraph. After that, tomorrow, we are going to finish the first paragraph. Ideally, I'd love it if everyone could do the first 2 paragraphs telling you why the Great Wall's costs are more than the benefits. If you don't get to the counter argument, that's fine. I would rather you have 3 really good paragraphs than 4 or 5 rushed paragraphs that are kind of sloppy. So here's what we're going to do. Before you guys start writing, before I have you get out a piece of paper to write, flip to the back page. This is giving you a rough outline of what we're looking for. So, paragraph 1, the intro paragraph like we talked about. What's the first thing we write about in our intro paragraph? Victoria, what's the first thing we write about? Yes, you're right. We start with the title. You can do costs and benefits of the Great Wall, something like that. But after paragraph 1 intro, what is the first thing? What does it say? The background and context. What do I mean by that? What is the background of the context? What do you guys think? Like just in general, what does background or context mean? Sammy? Not quite your claim. Yeah, potentially info about the Great Wall. Marissa? Wait, let me rephrase this question. So, the way that you guys want to write your essay is you want to write it as if someone who has never heard of the Great Wall of China is reading about it for the first time. If someone has never read about the Great Wall of China, before you give them all your pros and cons of the Great Wall, what do you have to do? Larissa?
Maybe like summarize?
Yes, summarize, but what are we summarizing, Maddie?
Explain what the Great Wall of China is and what the motive is to do.
Absolutely, yes. So that's your background and your context. You're giving background about the Great Wall, and you're giving some context about what the Great Wall was, why it was built. Now, we've talked about why it was built with the documents. You can use some info from the documents for that. Something else you can do is you can take some of the info from this short little paragraph or passage from the very front page of your DBQ. So that would be the first thing you write, was that context and that background. After that, Nader, what do we write next, once we've done background and context? Thesis and roadmap, exactly. And you guys can literally write exactly this, exactly what we put on the board. Cost of the Great Wall, China outweigh the benefits because, reason 1, reason 2, counter argument. After that, is there anything else that's required for your intro paragraph? No. So I know you guys are used to probably writing, 5 to 8 sentences for English essays, things like that. Because the way the DBQ works, you're trying to convey your information, trying to give your information very quickly, and you're trying to give it basically in as little words as possible while still giving full information. So your intro only really needs to be 3 to 4 sentences to include all the info you need. Any questions about what I'm looking for the intro here? We're good? Cool. Okay. Paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 are all the same thing, so we'll just go through paragraph 2 together, and then 3 and 4 are going to repeat. So, Eli, what's the first thing we write in paragraph 2?
First thing to write is the baby thesis for bucket 1.
Perfect. So, what would your opening paragraph talk about for paragraph 2, your first body paragraph? Em? Yeah, exactly. You could literally start it with, the Great Wall was not necessary because they already had existing protection from the Jianyu. What about paragraph 2? What would you guys write? What do you guys think? Sorry, not paragraph 2. For body paragraph 2, for your baby thesis for bucket 2, what could you say? Owen?
The human cost was like too great.
Exactly. You could say something like, another reason the Great Wall wasn't worth it, or wasn't worth the cost, is because the human cost was too great. Is that making sense? Yeah, you're basically taking exactly what we wrote for each song, and that's your intro sentence for each of your 3 body paragraphs. After that, Victoria G, what do we write after the baby thesis in our body paragraphs? Evidence, yes. And Mackenzie, what is the evidence? Like, what does it say here? Perfect, exactly. So if we were, let's do the example of the human cost being too great. What's something that tells us the human cost is too great? What's something you guys remember from the documents? Sarah?
There was no harvest.
Yes, so you could say something like, part of the reason the human cost was too great is because people weren't able to harvest their food and maybe people went hungry. when you're citing information or when you're taking information directly from the documents, you guys need to cite it. Have you guys done that before in 6th grade, citing your sources? A little bit? Yeah, what would it look like? If I was taking something from document F and I wrote something, something, something in document F, what do I do to cite it? Sarah?
Put in quotation marks and then at the end put doc and then
Correct. Yeah, I would do doc F. And if you're quoting it, you're right. You would put it in quotation marks. If you're paraphrasing, do you guys know what paraphrasing is? Anyone have any ideas? So paraphrasing is putting it in your own words. So if you put in your own words, do you need to put quotes around it? No, not necessarily. I would prefer if you guys paraphrase. But if you want to quote something, if you think you can't phrase it any better than the quote, absolutely go for it. But if you say something like, there's no one at home to harvest the rice, is that a direct quote from the document? No. So you wouldn't have to put quotes. You could just say there's no one at home to harvest the rice, then you would put doc F, because that's where you found that information. I would like you guys to use each document at least once per paragraph. Actually, yeah, if you want to just use it once per paragraph, that's totally fine. So that would be one example of citing human cost. Then you would bring an example from document E. Any questions so far? Yes?
Do we have to like cite it?
Yes, you've got to cite it, because otherwise...
I mean like quote it.
No, you don't have to quote it. You can paraphrase it. Yeah. I just want you to cite it so that I know that you're getting the information from the document. But also, what happens if you don't cite your sources? What can it be seen as? Sammy? Yeah, plagiarism, potentially. Obviously, it's not a big deal, plagiarism on these documents in this class, but you guys are going to be citing things throughout all of middle school and high school, and then in college as well. So it's important to get in the habit of citing your sources now. All right, the last thing is the arguments. What do I mean by the argument, Kara? What does it say there after arguments? So that's the counter argument. But under paragraph 2, 3, and 4, where it says argument and then colon, what does it say after that?
It says,
Yes, connecting evidence to the thesis. This is going to be the hardest part. I don't expect you guys to be perfect at it right away, but I would like you to at least try or attempt. So what I mean by the arguments in connecting evidence to the thesis is you're going to tell me no one's home to harvest the rice, but that just tells me that no one's home to harvest the rice. How do we connect that to something like the human cost? What happens if people aren't home to harvest the rice? Okay. Yeah, there won't be food, people will go hungry, it's not going to be good for China. That's your argument. That's how you're connecting the no one's home to harvest the rice to the Great Wall is a bad idea because it's costing human lives and suffering, or creating suffering. Okay, so I'll talk more about the counter-argument if we get there tomorrow. Any final questions on what the intro and the body paragraphs are going to look like? We're good? Okay, we have about 10 minutes left, so I would like you guys to grab a piece of paper and start writing your intro. I think 10 minutes should be enough time since I'm already giving you your thesis. But yeah, that's the goal. The goal is for you guys to finish your first paragraph today. Yeah, Kate. Yeah.
No.
Also, while you guys are writing, make sure you're using your outlines, because that'll tell you exactly where to keep stuff and exactly what order to put it in. Yes, they're all in the back of the black pen. I would like you to write it. Yeah, so I'd like you guys to handwrite. I don't want you to type it out. Yes. Yes. Correct. So it's going to be a little different based on sound. I'll have to write. I'm not used to teaching 6th graders yet, at least for the writing section. So I'm going to tell you guys about how to do the counter argument if we get there. Chances are you guys are probably more right. Yeah, so guys, just worry about the intro paragraph today. Don't worry about paragraph 2 and starting the body paragraphs. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow.
Can I see?
Yes.
So the roadmap is just another word for this guy.
This is your way of saying like, okay, first paragraph, second one,
Connor, was
second
that
paragraph,
you
second one,
dropping
third
the
paragraph,
phone, the
second one,
iPhone 12?
okay, first, second, third, bottom.
Which one? The black one or the blue one? And no, that was not exactly Photoshop, but I got it from another person.
So the background, the context is treat this as if it's like.
You got
But-
4.4K likes. That's crazy.
Okay,
Copyright.
treat this as if you're writing the essay and your parents don't want to read it.
Why did you copyright it?
What would you
No,
do if
bro,
your
his
parents
channel's
don't
so
want to read it? Well, read
He
the
literally
book,
punched
read
the
the book. You need to tell them about the grade wall a little bit, or what it is.
Wait, is that you
Yeah,
drilling the
absolutely. So that's your
iPhones?
background and context.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, you can use it
And
You drill the
or you can use it both from your notes or just from your brain.
whenever free iPhone 12.
Once you've done that,
No.
background context.